Yes.
Hello there. Welcome.
We're into the final throes of World Cup 2018, and just in time we're able to get some local content onto this program. We are two Novocastrians, after all, talking football and have been for the last month. And today we have one of the legends of the game, even though he won't admit it himself, certainly a legend in Newcastle, David Lowe.
Hi guys.
Welcome.
Great to be here.
I'm just thinking, finally some local content. Phil Dando didn't qualify. Sorry, Phil.
No, he's a pom. He's a pom. He played for
Fair enough.
Liverpool.
Chris Carmagnolis, we finally got his footage
I didn't
up.
know that, I
Chris,
didn't know that his interview was ever going to go to air.
Oh, look, there you go. We got there in the end.
We
It's a
did,
bit like,
we did.
the Socceroos.
Let's talk about Dave, I guess.
Let's talk about that. Yeah. Mate, thank you for joining us.
It's great to be here. It's been a long month.
Yeah, have you been watching?
I've been doing my best to watch. I can't say, hand on heart, that I've watched every game. Some work commitments, etc., and old age.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the important ones, and you usually catch up through the day with what you might have missed. But no, it's been great.
I found about 3 o'clock in the afternoon the head just starts to drop, and if I'm out on the road I thought, oh gee, this is going to get a bit dangerous driving, and
It's been that way.
trying to stay awake at the same time. It's been another game. Former Socceroo, played a handful of games for the mighty Socceroos. We're going to take you back and talk about that. Also former KB United player and also
Yes.
former Breakers player as well. So tell us about
Former lots of players.
It's a
Well,
bit
you
more
become a
former
journeyman.
player than I have. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't get to that height at
Yeah.
all. But
you and I can never say we used to be great because we were never great
no,
in the first place.
no, not even now.
So Socceroos matches you played. So what? Take us back the year of some of the players you played with.
Yeah, no, look, I was pretty much the Graham Arnold, Robbie Slater, Frank Farina era. They're all 1963s or 64s. I think Robbie might be a touch younger, but that sort of era. And it was a famous 4-5-1, which is not very conducive to playing when you're 5'8" as a striker. So, I've come up with an excuse straight away. But good times. I saw. We were talking off camera before, Paul Oak on Ned Zilic make their debuts, that sort of thing. Paul Wade was the captain. So it was a kind of a crossover era. I think a few guys started to go overseas professionally and do well, and the league started to get a little bit of recognition. But what I remember was the NSL was a good competition. Obviously no salary cap. The stronger clubs were really strong.
Yeah.
Your Sydney, Melbourne, Croatia's, Marconi, South Melbourne, Sydney Olympic. And a good league, played on some horrible fields around the country, but no, great time and good players, really good players.
Tell us about the dressing room story that you were telling us.
I can't remember that.
KB United turning us to the...
Oh, look, KB United, yeah, well, Mick Channon came out, guest appearance, he came a couple of years in a row, and it was the old, it's now Club Phoenix or West, and it was Stuart Lloyd's in those days, and it was more or less one light on the bottom field, and Mick Shannon's pulled up in the car park, and Craig Mason was the captain at the time. He's an Englishman. He went to Marconi actually just shortly after I went there, and Mick Shannon's pulled up in the car, the sponsor car. Where's the change room, Mason? He said, "You're sitting in it, mate." So over the days it was the oily rag. Yeah, the smell of the oily rag. So fantastic player, and what a great player he was, and lovely experience to play with him.
Yeah, and some of the coaches that you trained up.
Yeah, well look, Kenny Kaiser was a Newcastle coach then, and Kenny Kaiser, and there's a blast from the past. Did particularly well. As a local guy, he got a chance. He gave me a chance, and Kenny was there when I went to Sydney. Lee Scheinfeld was coach of the Young Socceroos, which I was a part of. He took me to Marconi in 1984, and which was a long time ago. Obviously Eddie Thompson, Frank Arrock. Later on, won a couple of championships with Bertie Mariani, before him Roberto Vieri, Christian Vieri's father, who was a fabulous player himself, was at Marconi, and later on in life.
How different would the Socceroos have been if Christian Vieri had signed up for the Socceroos?
It'd have been a bit handy. I think even Brazil could have done with him this time around.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, and Christian is a lovely young bloke, and he didn't have the touch that his father had, but he's a beast. But I remember him more for he yorked me left arm over the wicket out the front of the Marconi change room. Seriously, as a 15-year-old, and I thought, you've got a future somewhere. Not in that, but the great story with Christian was he went to Italy, and how you do all your player profiles, and he filled out the sporting hero of your child, and it was Alan Border, and there was everybody in Italy said, who? Yeah, exactly. But But there you go, and it's just amazing to see people like that go where they.
But if you ask Alan Border, his childhood hero was Roberto Baggio, so there's a certain synergy around there.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I. All right.
Okay, well, look, you're here for your football knowledge, and it's been great chatting to you about the World Cup as we go. We'll get on to last night's match in a minute. A couple of things. Your take as to this World Cup, has it changed anything? What are the big highlights of this World Cup been for you?
No, look, I don't think so. I think we can overanalyse things. I think, the good teams have ended up at the top, with the exception of Brazil. I think, a lot of people talked about Martinez's tactics and all the rest of it. The big decision I thought he made was to advance and beat England. I would have run dead in that game. To be honest with you, they'd be in the World Cup final tonight if they'd have gone, you can have that England, you go the other side of the draw.
Yeah.
They would be in the World Cup final. I'm pretty sure they would be tonight, and then you take your chances against one of the big guns. So, I'm saying that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but for me that was, you can talk all the tactics you like, but that was an obvious decision for me, and I thought they took the harder path, did really well to beat Brazil, but in the end it cost them, because you get a couple of tough games in a row. You're always going to get it with France and Uruguay on the other side as well. So, the big surprises with Germany going out, tried to play like Spain and they forgot they were German. I think, that's not their go. Spain have gone home undefeated. I don't think they were as good as they have been, but they didn't lose a game. So
they won one game.
Yeah.
I went back and had a look this morning. They won one. They beat Iran 1-0. That was their only game. All the other games they drew.
Well, they still did better than us.
But that's just the way. So the World Cups are always like that. I think seldom the best team wins. I think France are probably close to the best team this time, and they've got a chance. But I've got a theory that you usually win 4 years later, when you're probably maybe not quite as good as you were, and that sort of thing.
More widely. It's interesting how many goals have France scored compared to Belgium. Here's Belgium going out as third.
Yeah.
They've scored, I think, 4 or 5 more goals than France on the journey in.
Yeah.
But again, they came up against Panama and Tunisia too. So
France had Australia and Peru.
Yeah.
Look, I think we all love to see goals, and we all love to see attacking football. But at the end of it, when you play the big teams, it's about your defence. And as an old striker, that pains me to say that, but it's how well you manage people, how well you manage the good players in the opposition when it all comes down to it. And you don't.
So that overall sort of defence wins World Cups hasn't changed. It looks a little different this time around, but it's the same.
Well, it is. I think if you could question mark on Belgium, because everybody likes the football Belgium play, do I think they're a better team than Brazil? No, I think they'll probably beat Brazil once or twice in 10. 10 games. Brazil would win the majority of the others.
Exactly.
But they had a good day that day. But they probably they got found out at a set piece, which can happen.
And I think Belgium leaked a few too many goals. I think last night was the first time they haven't been scored against in 24 matches.
Yeah, unsurprisingly against England, where they didn't give them any set pieces. But look, England had some good chances.
They did.
During the game. I think we're just seeing it on the screen from my angle as well. So
good.
How topical, I think defences. We hate to say as long as they're fair defences. I think sometimes the games can be stifled and all that sort of thing. But I think generally the games have been reasonably open, and there's been an attractive sort of football there. And
a couple of anomalies, but overall.
You're going to get those ones. Everyone's saying what a great story Russia were. But if you saw them play against Spain, if it was anyone else but Russia, you'd go, how boring is that? Why you've got 20% of the ball and you just sat back. Korea did a job against Germany doing the same thing. They had a little bit of pace on the break, but they basically said, well, we're going to defend on our 6-yard line and we'll take our chances. And the opposition centre half could have scored 3 in 7 minutes. Hummels could have scored 3 in 7 minutes with his head. So that's how deep they sat. But they took their chances and got away. And I think there's a lesson there for us. Sometimes they're realistic, other teams, talented teams. Denmark played within themselves, nearly got through, barely conceded a goal. That was the way they were going to do it. They had Ericsson, a great player, and a couple of other decent players. But they decided, well, we've got to be solid here, and you have Sweden's and that sort of thing. They do what they do. Exactly.
Second tier teams.
Exactly.
I think one of the things that happened last night that I noticed, which was what you said.
We're going to swing to last night now, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
no, this is just talking about how the game has changed or what's happened out of this World Cup. When Hazard scored Belgium's second goal, did you notice the England defender Jones actually went to tackle him and then all of a sudden put his hand up because he knew that if he touched him, he could have gone down, it would have been reviewed. The VAR's in the back of his mind, so rather than any other tournament, they would have pulled the player down. This VAR has now changed the way that players are thinking, and so he's actually had to let him go. Which
It's
is
cleaned up the box.
That's it.
It's
He's
really
scored
cleaned
the goal.
up the
So
box.
to me, that's where it has changed it.
So we won't go over the VAR one more time
One of my
because we've
favourites,
talked about it forever.
Yeah,
It's here to stay.
yeah, that's it.
It's a great system as long as you don't have referees making the final judgment. You know, like, that sounds facetious,
Can't trust them, can you?
no, but you've got. They know the rules, but I think you've got to have a feel for the overall thing of the game.
Yeah. And again, that's what they're
You
saying.
know, not just the absolute specific bit here, maybe a little bit of what's led
There's
up
a
to
context
it.
to it.
Yeah, there, exactly. Yeah.
That's what they were saying about the referee last night from Iran. He was a former player. He was one of the few, or one of the only referees in this World Cup that was a former player. And I was a former player and then refereed, and I could understand the game. No, it was. You could understand the referees. You noticed that the referees that just picked up the rule book and just read it were miles behind the ones that understood the game. Just let the game flow. Understand that the players get a bit frustrated. You can talk to them rather.
So there's an argument for the VAR refs to have been former players.
Got you. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, look,
Yes.
I think
Because they're looking at
Yeah,
seconds and
exactly.
half seconds. Of
I think there's enough of them in the box. I think you can have a referee to say, here's the rule, black and white, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Then you have, somebody that appreciates it, whether it's a coach or a player or something. Well, here's what's happened. I mean, we can look back at the grand final in Newcastle if the VAR had worked, but you get it, especially. There's times like 8 minutes into a grand final, say in Australia, you've got to know that's a crucial decision. It's not the same as a decision at 4-2, with 3 minutes to go at the other end of it, and it's like, where's the advantage line?
And humans can understand context, computers can't.
Exactly right.
But we're going to come back after a short break and talk about last night's game. And welcome back. Okay, we've got our special guest David Lowe with us. David Lowe, obviously ex-Socceroo, KB United player, and of course the author of the weekly inspiration point for most football fans in Australia in the Newcastle Herald, Lowe's Lowdown.
Build that up, didn't you?
Your knowledge of the Jets is up there. How did you see last season, the first season under Ernie Merrick, and is it going to keep going this year?
No, look, it was a fantastic season. I don't think there's you can't look at it any other way to come from. Well, you can say wooden spoon the year before, but it was 6 or 7 years before that. Excuse me, when things were pretty bleak. So, look, they had a terrific season. Obviously, the disappointment of the grand final. Well, nobody sort of expected it to be held at home, and all of a sudden it was like, it's going to be here, and we're going to win, and we'd won a couple before in different codes and that sort of thing. So we're probably not used to defeat. The VAR we touched on before. It was a letdown, on the night, but
that shouldn't cloud the fact that it was.
Exactly right. I mean, there was breakout seasons for Andrew Naboo. Timmy Petralos made the Socceroos. Riley McGree came back. I thought he came back at a key time for the Jets and really added something. The January transfer window.
We had our Argentinian boy. What was his name? Patricio.
Yeah, look, I think Vargas is probably definitely the better player of the two. He had a horrific injury, but you can see real touches of class in him. So how he recovers, how he comes back, I think is pretty key.
He's got one more season.
He's signed again for another season, but Naboo was never really replaced. McGree's gone to Melbourne City, so I think there's a big test as well.
They're hunt for another striker, aren't they?
Yeah, well they are, and they've got to be fair to everyone who's gone before. They had a better budget this time. There's more money. Martin Lee had a look in the first season, didn't open the first strings, had a look around, going, okay, this is what we need to be competitive. I'm going to add a little bit more. They recruited well, which can be a little bit hit and miss, regardless of the research that you do. But it is a test second time around because other teams are going to know, okay, Ernie likes to do this. They've got the players to play a certain way. I think they need to add a few players in key areas. Obviously, they're going to, especially with Roy O'Donnell being out for 10 games still,
Yeah.
you're more or less without one of your main strikers. It's nearly half a season, so they're going to have to strengthen there. I think they need a more creative player in midfield. Vargas will be good there, maybe someone a little deeper, and they're probably looking for a left back and maybe some cover. In a utility sense anyway.
Yeah, because we've got that spine at the back, haven't we? I think,
Some youth players coming through that you've noticed?
Look, there's not a great deal, to be honest. To be fair, I don't see a lot of the youth team football because you've got work commitments. Some of us have to earn a living, away from the game and that sort of thing. So, nothing that really jumps out. Young Joey Champers had a good season this time. He's probably
I rate him.
Yeah, you're probably looking at an established first team sort of regular now. So, there's definitely a few positions that need to be strengthened. Hopefully, we can get that youth development side working better because we haven't really produced players without getting too political.
Off to China this
year.
They've got a nice sort of kick on into this season.
They have. Look, they're going to Spain as well, and in a couple of weeks, I think. So.
I think Laurie just likes that.
Laurie does love an overseas trip. He does love a junk at Big Laurie, but
Laurie.
how are you, big man? But exactly. I'm sure he would be. He and the club again. It's bit different to going to wherever, Parks or Burke or wherever for your pre-season, which has been done in previous years. So,
it's quality.
And look, you get a chance to see some people. You might go on a trip, go and play Spain second division. You see somebody go, hang on a minute, we could use that guy here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the economies are over there, but a few years ago, it was attractive to come to Australia because after the GFC, the economies were a bit depressed in Europe. So, you can do all that, and you've got some coin behind you to do it.
So a bit of good recruiting before this season, and we might get the.
Yeah, look, I think they need it. I think Sydney have lost some players, but they'll always be strong. Melbourne City will be strong. You'd imagine Victory will still be strong. So you can't afford to sit still, especially when you've lost. You've lost McGree, you've lost Naboo. Is Petravis going to come back? Obviously, he didn't get any game time at the World Cup. So you're in the shop window. But in his case, he probably wasn't. If you know what I mean. But if you were to lose someone like that as well,
I just hope the Jets supporters and the public don't automatically think that we made the grand final last year, we're going to win it this year. The whole season starts from you reset.
But that said, Ernie Merrick is one of the best coaches in the league, and he's a wily character. He knows what he's doing.
You'll get the best out of him.
And what I like about Ernie Merrick is he's got a great sense of humour. Nothing is too serious for him, and I think that's important when you've got a young squad.
Very dry Scotsman, no, look, he's a very positive guy. At all stages, when the opportunity came to go, we'll go defensive, or we'll go. He went on the front foot, and I think that probably suits the Castrian mentality.
We lost a few key games there at the tail end of the season. I think we lost 5-2. To Adelaide, away to Adelaide. I think there was a 3-0 loss as well.
Yeah, we were pretty depleted though.
Yeah, exactly. But
he knew it was coming.
Exactly, and he didn't lose his bundle. He just, we'll rise above this. We'll get ready for the final. So there wasn't panic stations. It was calm.
Well, there you go, Ernie. We're looking forward to another fabulous season from you and the boys.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. And of course, we'll be here to comment. No, we won't be here to commentate, will we? So you're safe.
Thank God we won't be here to commentate.
We'll be back in a moment to talk about World Cup again.
And welcome back. Yes, now time to talk about the game last night.
Yeah.
What were your impressions?
Look, considering these two teams played each other in the last...
I'm talking about Djokovic and Nadal.
You can't get good people to work with.
Serena Williams, I thought she was Sorry, okay, let's do it's football.
It's been so much fun. Look, the game that we wanted to see who was really going to win out of these two teams, and I don't think there was any surprise.
Which two teams are we talking about?
We're talking about England and
Belgium?
Belgium.
Yep.
Not Brussels.
No, not Brussels.
Yeah. And look, I think Belgium winning 2-0 was pretty much the way this game should have gone, but there was some lovely football. I wish we'd seen it earlier. We know why we didn't see it earlier, but I think one of the standouts from last night was De Bruyne, and he owned that midfield.
He has got to win the player of the tournament as far as I'm concerned. I know he won't. Yeah. He won't because I'll pick someone out of the final. Probably Mbappe's got he's the anointed one. But my God, he ran right last night. He just controlled everything. And
he did. And look, what's telling is that England changed out their entire midfield for this game.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the second half when they put the likes of Delhi and Lingard back on that it started to become a sort of competitor. So a bit of a tactical experiment, I think, from Southgate. It didn't work in the second half. Hell, it didn't work after 4 minutes. They had a couple of different defenders on. Rose, I think, was the one that let the
But we said this.
through.
This is the match. Third and fourth place playoff is the match where they always start to experiment. Use some players. Some
Martinez
World Cup
obviously
experience.
wanted it more because he didn't change very much at all.
That's it.
You know, he left Fellaini off,
Yeah,
which
that's it.
is always a good move.
Yeah, we talked about that.
But it was just beautiful to see that midfield working. Eden Hazard, I don't think he's stopped working all tournament. You rate him.
Well, I do. I think I'd have Hazard in front of De Bruyne, mainly because I got $34 about him being player of the tournament 4 weeks ago. And I've got a few of the Frenchmen. Look, De Bruyne is a very good player. I think, for me, if you're looking at Belgium, though, I'd look after Hazard first, in terms of individuals, because he's the way he spins on the ball and accelerates while in full control is, I think, it's close to beyond comparison in the World Cup. Messi can do a little bit without maybe being as explosive. Better player, let's be brutally honest. But for me, Hazard's had a great tournament. Modric has got a lot of ticks. I'm hoping against hope that they pick a defensive midfielder in Kante, because he was $67 at the start. And look, he's been terrific. The job he does for France, enormous. Mbappe's an enormous talent. I don't think he's necessarily dominated, but he's looked so dangerous every time he touches the ball, because he's an incredible athlete, and he's got lovely quick feet as well at the skill level. So
the way they counter-attack, like England were chasing the game, and Dyer could have equalised. He had a good chance.
And then I think I want to talk about Dyer for a second, because we talked about him earlier in the tournament, and I said at the time I think Dyer needs more time on the field. He's probably their most dominant midfielder.
I think
when he's given a bit of time.
The thing you've got to be careful of is in the third v fourth play, as you noted, teams are more expansive they play. There's less pressure on the ball. They're not as, the concentration levels without the ball are not there. The pressure on the ball is not quite as much. So you can have a flattering performance where in some of the other games when the chips are really down, there's less time. They're more likely to foul you, they stop you playing, and all that sort of thing. So there's a chance it'll flow more, and I think it suits some players. De Bruyne, obviously a great athlete, but a real good footballer as well. It's a great game.
A game for attacking midfielders, and defending midfielders didn't get the same sort of limelight, did they?
That's right.
But the only lament I have is I would have loved to have seen a game with Modric in the middle for Croatia, and De Bruyne on fire in the middle for and Eden Hazard on fire for Belgium. I think that would have been a spectacle.
No, look, totally. I think for me, it's easy to say. I still think Brazil are the best team of the tournament. Belgium had a good day, and you get an own goal and the breakaway goal, and we all know that they should have fouled Lukaku, and they were still 4 against 2, and De Bruyne scored a fabulous goal, but they probably should have stopped that and sent him outside. So you get those little moments can change a tournament. But the biggest thing for me is I think sometimes the best teams don't. When you have the one-off day or whatever, and that's from someone who loves to watch Brazil play. I think Belgium are a terrific team.
That's the nature of the World Cup.
Who
is the best team?
I would have liked to have seen a Brazil-France semi-final, because that was a terrific game in '86 that those two countries played. It would have been terrific to see that again.
Well, look, I don't want to take too much away from England as well. From what we've been saying, you'd think they weren't even on the park, but England played very well.
I do. That's my
just
lament.
In patches.
That's my lament. At the end of the day, they should have won this one to put all the haters at rest.
There was a brilliant save off the line by the Belgian number 2, and no one can pronounce his name. I'm sorry, but it was a brilliant save.
Apparently he's Dyer's teammate at Tottenham. That narrows it down, so they'll have a bit to talk about when the season starts up again.
Season over.
England to me needed to win this to put a few demons at rest, because everyone said they had a dream run through, and the first time they hit a tough team in Croatia, they fell over, but really they believed that they were going to bring the trophy home. To me, they really should have won this one.
No one believed they were going to take
exactly.
it.
Look, can I be honest? I don't think they were good enough to win this one. I said before, Belgium should have let them qualify, go through, and Brazil would have toyed at them. Okay, but having said that, I think having said that, having got the good draw, they were well on top of Croatia, and then their honesty killed them again. Because for me, Perisic's goal, any other European nation, the defender goes down holding his head, and it goes, they go, it's a high foot, because it was, it's one of those touch and go, your head's down, so you're in the box. If you hold your head like any other
A bit of tomato
experience.
sauce.
No, but when the big brave English go, no, whatever, they'd have made a huge fuss of it. VAR wouldn't have overruled if the ref had gone, oh, he's probably kicked him in the head.
It's undone the
Yeah.
World Cup space,
Well,
hasn't it?
Is that naive? Is it honest? You know, do we admire that? I don't know. But it's probably, yeah, exactly. And at the end of it, it's probably cost you because that turned the game. If he doesn't score, then you're at 71 minutes.
Yeah, that's it.
You hold out for another 8, 9 minutes, 80th, then you're desperate, they throw,
That's
then you
it.
can catch them on the counter,
Yes.
or they're resigned to their fate.
So there you go, good team, getting better by the hour, but not good enough to win
Put
this.
some tomato, little satchels of tomato sauce in your pocket, quickly just rub them up.
Oh yeah, I'll catch that, man. You've got to have it under your skin. All right, we'll be back in just a moment to preview the big game.
Okay, everyone, it's a moment I've been looking forward to for a long time. I get to introduce the all-important Tony's Ref's Riff.
Let's have a look. If it's one thing all football fans crave, it's consistency from the referee. In this Ref's Riff we call Compare and Contrast, well, judge for yourself. The first incident is the tackle in the 2010 World Cup by Australia's Lucas Neal on Italian Fabio Grosso. Compare that to the tackle in the 2018 World Cup by Belgium's Company on Brazil's Jesus. Both defenders slid in when they really should have kept their feet. Both strikers went over the defender. Grosso was awarded a penalty, Jesus was not. The second is the handball incident in the 1990 World Cup by Argentina's Maradona to the handball in the 2010 World Cup by Australia's Harry Kewell. In both incidents, the ball hit the players high on the arm. No penalty against Maradona, but a penalty against Kewell and a straight red card. And in the final incidents, compare Tim Cahill's straight red card in the 2010 World Cup for clattering into the legs of Germany's Bastian Schweinsteiger to the yellow card given to Mark van Bommel for his challenge in the 2010 World Cup final. I guess the only consistency in each of these incidents is the letter of the law seems to be applied quite heavily against the Socceroos. Welcome back to Putin Football First, and yes, thanks for that Ref's Riff introduction. Could you guys look any more disinterested
Sorry,
in a very important segment?
did we miss something?
Did I show that amount of disrespect to Coach's Corner? I think I did actually. I think I did. All right, time to talk now about the big one. This is what we're here for, the World Cup final. It's finally arrived. In the blink of an eye, we'll be gone.
And so will we.
4 years preparation, 200 countries put their hand up, filled in forms. Let's be part of this spectacle throughout the qualifiers over a 2.5 year period, narrowed down to 32. 32 have now become 2.
Yeah.
France, Croatia, what's going to happen?
It's almost a shame that it's over. Croatia obviously would have to be seen as the underdogs. They played an extra game in total over all the France players. I think the France players are not only sensational, but they're fresh. They've had a nice, easy rest into this grand final. They are talented. I don't think they're as well organised as Croatia when Croatia's on fire, but Croatia is hot and cold. And if they can be hot long enough, they've got a chance. And if they're cold too often, France will eat them like a warm baguette. Do you eat warm baguette? No, you don't. Anyway, David, you know more about this game than we do. What's your take on this grand final?
Look, not necessarily know more about it. My head says France will win, and I think they'll win reasonably comfortably. Having said that, if you've got a question mark about Croatia, it's usually their mentality, and it's more or less been answered at this tournament. They've had to be brave, they've had to be strong, they've looked like they're down and out, and they've fought their way back. I think France will have too much control for them. I think they've got a little bit too much power. You've got a massive talent in Mbappe. Griezmann was, I thought, terrific in the last 2 games for them. He showed real touches of class. The much maligned Olivier Giroud, I fancy him to get a goal just to just to answer all the English critics. I've been watching a few of the.
I love him. I think
he works really. He's a great player.
He's assisting.
Exactly, and look, I think I think he can sneak up and grab a header or something at a set piece. He's not the devil that people make him out. But they got strength. They got Kante will look after
You're really rating
Maybe,
him.
he's a fabulous player for what he does. The amount of ground he covers, allowing fullbacks to get forward, does a great job. I think Pogba's been really good. Another
It's
player who
behaved
cops a
too,
lot.
you know,
Yeah, look,
it's
he
pretty
cops a
together.
lot of criticism. You know, when he's not fantastic, but all he does is, you know, make assists, and create, you know.
You know what? If I was Croatia, I'd be heading out to niggle him as early as I could.
Yeah, look, I think
You know, he's a weak point because he loses his head, and we could get him down to 10 men if we niggle him hard enough.
Oh, well, that's
Is that cynical?
That's
Is
a
that
little.
cynical?
I was about to say it's about as cynical as diving when Perisic scored against England. But that'll be discussed and it'll be
It's not
tried.
about who's the best. It's about who can win the World
But
Cup.
I think I think their mentality will be too strong. Maybe they can go out with too much of a swagger. I don't think it'll be allowed. Obviously, in a World Cup final in this scenario, so they won't be complacent. I think they'll be very confident. The French. I think they've just got options in too many areas. The fullbacks have been underrated. They get forward well and play well. Varane for me is the best central defender in the tournament, and he had a brain explosion against Australia with a handball. But he's improved. They tick too many boxes. And look, and Lloris has been fantastic in goals. He's made a couple of really critical saves when they've gone ahead in games. So, you know, as much as because I've got a fair few Croatian friends, even though we used to, you know, be the big enemy at Marconi across the way, but I'm sure they'll play well and they'll give a good account of themselves. Modric obviously a key for them, but I just don't think they've got the overall strength that the French have got, particularly as you said when you've played. You know, 2 games have gone to 120 minutes, and
if this does get to extra time, you'd have to say France might just have.
Oh look, I think Croatia got a chance with goes to extra time. I expect France to get the job done in 90 minutes. Otherwise, they will get nervous, and Croatia will think, "Oh, we've been here the last. You know, we've prepared for this in the last."
I'd love Croatia to score first. That would open the game.
Look, I think it's pretty fair to say that this table wants Croatia to win, but thinks France might just have the good.
You know the whole ads on SBS that we've been seeing, heads and hearts. This is classic heads and hearts. You know, the head says France, they're terrible ads. Head is France, the heart is Croatia.
As far as I'm concerned, when those ads come on, it's time to go and get a cup of tea.
That's it.
I'll drink a lot of tea thanks to those ads.
I'm surprised I haven't got the haircut like that lad does.
No, not a hope. I don't have enough hair. Lowy, where are you going to be watching the game from?
I'll be watching at home. Hopefully, I'll be staying awake. You know, it's getting old, but
it's a terrible time.
Well, it is.
It's shocking.
It's
It's
could be worse if you're working at 6 o'clock in the morning or something like that. I'll be watching the game. I'll be hoping that Kante has a terrific game, or Pogba, because you know they're two of them guys that may give me a return on my little investment on the best player. It's always around that.
What is it with former KB United players that having a punt? The same with Phil.
It's
his most important thing.
It's about having an opinion without hurting anyone. That's basically it. It's like, I saw that, and it helps you to keep you interested. Yeah, you don't want to go overboard. Let's always gamble responsibly.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, look, there you have it. The big game tonight. It's going to be a great. It will be one for the ages. I think. No matter what the result is, this will be a torrid game, worthy of a World Cup final. And we will be waving our Croatian flags as hard as we can until the final whistle.
Yeah, can I just thank? We're going to do it now a little bit later. You can cut it off there if you want.
Let's do it now.
Edit it out.
Yep,
just wanted to thank.
It says we're supposed to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were going to do the break and then come back to it. I want to thank David Lowe for coming on to the program today. As I said, it's always great to have some local content. I asked you off air what school you went to. Because David won't remember this, but I remember it very, very vividly when Waratah High came onto the grounds of Merewether High and played a game of soccer, football back then, and I was in goals, and this guy here scored a goal against me in goals from the edge of the box.
Not surprise me.
From the edge of the box. I still haven't seen it. It dipped and swerved, it went everywhere, and I'm thinking, what the hell just happened then? And then next thing you know, we find out that this guy was on a path to go and play for the Socceroos, and it all made sense because he could hit a ball harder than I've ever seen come at me in all my youthful days. I remember it well. You probably
don't remember it at all.
I can remember playing. I do remember playing. Now I don't remember that. That was probably one of those misshapen balls that we had in high school.
That's exactly. I put it down.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
One of those balls.
I was going to say I couldn't because there were so many goals, but
I knew that, but
Headers I can remember strangely enough because they were so infrequent.
yeah, but no, it was. I do remember it because I'm thinking, holy crap, I've got this. Where the heck did that go? So yeah, thanks for coming on the.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Terrific coverage, and to keep the interest alive. And as you say, it only comes around once every 4 years, but it's been a treat.
Yeah, look, it has. And look, Newcastle is a football fortress, really. There's a lot of talent, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of passion for the game. So it's been a pleasure for us to do this, and thank you so much for joining us, mate. I really appreciate it.
Wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Go the Jets.
Okay, we're back for the last segment. It's the segment where we normally thank sponsors. We're going to kill two birds with one stone and thank our major sponsor, Murray's Brewing Company, by thanking our major guest, David Lowe.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you guys
very much.
Small
Appreciate it.
Just in case you lose your day, you've got some engineers to help you. Right. We also want to thank Everything Football. Again, you guys have been fantastic. We understand that your son is still in hospital with a broken leg from a skiing accident, which is why they couldn't join us on Thursday night. Yeah. So to all of you, we hope everything's mending quickly.
And why is he skiing instead of playing football? What is it? What is it?
And look,
and thank you so much for the shirt. I'm not returning this, by the way.
I'm burning this one, but that's another story. Also, a quick plug, what they've got on the counter at Everything Football is Laurie McKenna's book. Laurie McKenna's written Political Football. I can't imagine why he would have written. I would have thought it'd be a travel journal, but anyway.
If you have trouble reading it, there's a glossary at the back for all of his Scottish terms.
Yeah, as soon as I've paid for it, I'll be able to open the pages and have a look and have a good read. But Laurie McKenna's book. Let's support Laurie. Let's support the Jets.
It's got a sealed section and everything. That's amazing.
And look, we went there. Okay. And of course, our other sponsor is River Roast Coffee. James and his team at River Roast have kept us awake through this World Cup. Mostly with his bad jokes, not necessarily his coffee. But thank you for the coffee, it's been great. We will be back for one last show after the big one. Tonight is the final, Croatia v France. Hope you all enjoy it. Thank you guys for joining us.
Fingers crossed we might be out and about. So we might have some
footage,
some live footage. We're not going to promise
doing something out there.
Yeah, we won't promise anything.
Because the last one went so well.
It did.
And we'll see you all tomorrow.